Good evening and thanks for joining us on the evening news from the studio of ABS. My name is Ifunaya Amafili and we'll start with our headlines. The state government targets to train 10,000 youths annually under One Youth, One Skill initiative. ABS chapter of Ratawu inaugurates caretaker committee. The federal government denies agreements with organized labor on new minimum wage. Flash flooding kills at least 5 people in Spain. And we'll start with the news in details. The state government has inaugurated a skill acquisition program called One Youth, One Skill initiative. This is in keeping with Governor Willie Obiano's promise and targets of training 10,000 youths annually. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Nkemu Keke, performed the ceremony on behalf of the Governor at the Ministry of Youth Empowerment and Creative Economy in Oka. And our Government House correspondent, Ejike Abana, has the rest of this report.
The maiden batch of the initiative will start with 350 youths and lasts for 3 weeks, where selected youths will be trained on various entrepreneurial skills, including aluminium, solar power, PVC ceiling installation, among others. Governor Obiano, who decried unemployment rate in Nigeria, expressed optimism that the program will continue in order to accommodate more youths, adding that his administration has conquered insecurity and exposed entrepreneurship prospects in agriculture. The governor, while pointing out that integrity and honesty is key to building successful business, urged the beneficiaries to focus on the training and do their best.
So stand firm in your belief, do what is right. The opportunity you're getting today, not too many kids might have it. However, you are selected as a part of God's mercy and grace in your life for you to be the first to be selected to do this. So that gives you a head start. You will now be able to move through life a lot faster than the ones that will come after you. So keep focused. Don't joke with the training that you're going to get, because you might find that training might be what will make you a better person tomorrow.
According to the Commissioner for Youth Entrepreneurship and Creative Economy, Mr. Bonaventure Enemali, empowerment is key to solving youth restiveness and indulgement in societal vices, adding that the training has been decentralized in zones for optimum results.
If I do me to a father, open on a farm, Tariba, in your equipment on your good year, I met an only Mutasiva for any equipment or ye lazy or ye Debia, Camoya, Wolia, let me back. I'm from
the Managing Director of Anambra Small Business Agency, ASBA, Chief Clement Chukwuka, urged the beneficiaries to aspire to come out best in the training, saying that only micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises have the ability to mitigate unemployment. Chief Chukwuka noted that ASBA tries to provide easy access to business funds, urging Anambra youths to take advantage of the initiative.
Your duty is to be very, very assimilating. Is to be the best in that particular task. Once you are the best, you become marketable. It doesn't matter where your product are situated. Are you getting my point? Even if you are in the remotest part of Nigeria, as far as the skill is there, that's what will find you out. And that's what you guys need to get today.
It will be recalled that Governor Willie Obiano, during this year's Youth Day celebration, which took place in August, promised to create 10,000 entrepreneurship skill opportunities for Anambra youths. In Oka, Ejike Abana, ABS News.
The first annual Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics STEM Invention Fair has ended in Oka. The program aimed at harnessing and encouraging the inventive skills of the pupils and students for technological growth of the state took place at the St. John of God Secondary School, Oka. And we'll join Chidima Ikeanyomu for the rest of the report.
The STEM fair attracted representatives from different primary and secondary schools in the state. Inventors from primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, as well as private individuals, showcase their products as judges assess the utility values and safety of these inventions. Speaking on behalf of the governor, the senior special assistant to the governor on digipreneur, Mr. Ifeanyi Aniago, while commending the activities of STEM in the state, stated that the state government is always willing to render support to innovations and technological ideas and recalled the success of the winners of the World Technovation competition. He urged students to always strive to develop their ideas to create new innovations.
The only thing they have in common with us that they are from this place. So that is not just an occasion for us to be happy, it's an occasion for us to understand that inwardly we look at ourselves and develop ourselves as people that own the technology, the technology all over the world we are actually doing.
In a welcome address, the coordinator Young Scientist Center and a lecturer at Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University, Professor Benedict Ezeliora, who is a Reverend Sister, said that STEM Fair is to be a yearly event to gradually advance Igbo's inventive prowess for the benefit of the people.
Most of the instruments developed for space is now being used for us here in the Earth planet. So it has benefited humanity so much, and also helps to improve and develop technology.
In an interview, the senior assistant to the governor of mineral resources and the coordinator Morris STEM Network, Mr. Michael Oreke, said the event seeks to promote potentials which will be developed into commercially viable products by offering refinement and training in order to get them ready for mass production.
So many of the inventions we've seen in some of these competitions, not just within this STEM, have a potential to be developed into commercially viable products. But they need refinement. The inventors need to be trained on what to do, how to test the products, how to keep prototyping, how to perfect the products, and how to get them ready for manufacture. So that is what we hope to do with this event.
It would be recalled that Anambra State is known as a home of technological development. While Mr. Ifeanyi Aniago inspected the inventions, the judges graded the performance of the students as they gave a detailed explanation of how their inventions were created. 14 primary and secondary schools participated in the fair. In Oka, Chidema Ikanyo reporting for ABS News.
A 5-member caretaker committee has been inaugurated to pilot the affairs of the Anambra Broadcasting Services, ABS, chapter of the Radio, Television and Theatre Arts Workers Union, RATAWO. The committee will oversee the affairs of the union in the next 3 months, during which elections for new leadership of the chapel will be organized. And our correspondent, Emmanuel Okonkwo, brings us more on that story.
Members of the Caretaker Committee include Comrades Morningstone Enujuoke Chairman, Afamo Bidike Treasurer, Amako Obi Secretary, KC Ezelambert Financial Secretary, and Stella Okoye PRO. Speaking during the ceremony, the Southeast Zonal Vice President of the Union, Comrade Emeka Kalu, cautioned members against segregation and other acts that could mar or jeopardize the peace and unity of the Union. Comrade Kalu, who described the Union as strong and independent body, called on the committee to use the 3-month period to take the Union to higher level through selfless service and prepare members to the upcoming election of the chapter.
The Union is capable of driving home whatever agitation they have. The union is capable of fighting for their members. Be purposeful. Encourage your workers, your members to be diligent in their service, to go to work, to put optimum productivity, to be more creative, create wealth through your innovations.
On his part, the State Council Chairman of the Union, Comrade Andy Onwalo, charged members to support the newly appointed committee for optimal performance and progress of the chapter.
My advice is to pray for them and give them the desired support and assistance for them to succeed. They need their prayers. And for you to be a leader, it's not easy. If you are not a good follower, you can't make a good leader.
In her acceptance speech, the chairman of the committee, Morningstone Enujuoke, on behalf of others, promised to work within the guidelines establishing them and to carry everybody along for the upliftment of the union.
I want to thank you once again, and I promise that I'm going to work within the ambits of the law guiding RATAWO, and I'm going to work with the management to see to the upliftment of this union.
Oath of office was later administered on members of the committee by the State Council Chairman of the Union. In Awka, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
The All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, has presented certificates of return to Prince Nicholas Ukachukwu to fly the party's flag in the 2019 senatorial election in Anambra South. The certificate was presented to Prince Ukachukwu by the national chairman of the party, Chief Victor Oye, at the party's secretariat in Abuja. The ABGA national chairman, Victor Oye, while presenting the certificates, said Prince Ukachukwu has demonstrated belief and commitment to ABGA and congratulated him on his victory at the primary elections held at the Ekulobia Township Stadium. He charged him to campaign vigorously to ensure victory for ABGA in Anambra South, reassuring him that the party is behind him. Responding, Prince Ukachukwu thanked the party's leadership, Governor Willie Obiano, and others who played key roles in ensuring a free, fair, and credible primaries in Anambra South, as well as party delegates who voted for him. Similarly, Ekene NFM, candidate for Oyi and Ayamelum Federal Constituency, Chinedu Obidigwe, candidate for Anambra East and West Federal Constituency, and Dr. Alex Oti, the Abia State gubernatorial candidate, were among those that also received their certificate of return. The Anglican Bishop of Awka Diocese, Right Reverend Alexander Ibezim, has called on Christians to always reflect the light of God in all their endeavors. He made the call at St. Peter's Church, Abagana, in Njikoka local government area during a service of confirmation and admission into Mothers Union and Girls Guide for some churches in Abagana Archdeaconry. And Amaka Chibuzo Okoye has the report.
Bishop Ibezim said that God has given Christians special grace and power to become apostles of Jesus Christ, touching lives and winning souls for Christ. He charged those that receive the sacrament of confirmation to live life worthy of emulation, reminding them also of the need to live a life of sacrifice.
The Bible made us to know that we are the salt of the world, and we are also the light of the world. So whenever there is presence of a real child of God, a believer, that believer will affect that place. Your life will touch the people around you.
In a remark, the Archdeacon of Abagana Archdeaconry and Vicar of St. Peter's Church, Venerable Solomon Chidoka, called for a collective responsibility between the clergy and the laity in the spread of the gospel.
It's a sacramental service, and the bishop used it to empower, to energize the members of the church to go out to evangelize.
Two of those that were admitted into the Mothers Union, Mrs. Ngozi Nweke and Caroline Chukwulozie, promised to use their new positions in winning souls for Christ. Amaka Chibuzo Okoye, ABS News.
The national scene, where the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, says the federal government and the organized labor have yet to reach an agreement on the new national minimum wage as being reported in the media. He said the government was still consulting and negotiation was still ongoing. Ngige said this is an interview with the State House correspondents after a meeting of the Federal Executive Council presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The minister said there was no truth in the claim that those concerned have agreed to increase minimum wage to 30,000 naira. He explained that while the organized labor agreed on 30,000 naira, the organized private sector came down to 25,000 naira. The federal government proposed 24,000 naira, while state governors proposed 20,000 naira. He said in accordance with Convention 131 of the International Labour Organization, the most important thing to consider in fixing the new minimum wage is the ability to pay. The severe flood recorded in about 14 states in Nigeria, as well as conflicts and climate change, may derail efforts targeted at achieving zero hunger by 2030. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has said this. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization country representative in Nigeria, Sufyan Koroma, This development has posed great concern to not just the organization, but to other countries of the world. Speaking, Koroma stated that if the challenges were not addressed, Nigeria will have to put in more efforts to achieve its food sufficiency targets. He urged the federal government to improve its drive in managing flood, conflict, disease, and pest control in order to meet the country's food need. Commenting on food prices, Koroma noted that factors such as efficiency of value-added products, energy, effective legislation, transportation, and legal framework, amongst others, were very important for the prices of food to drop. This is coming as the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Chief Audu Obe, expressed hope that a zero-hunger world by 2030 was possible. He, however, decried the devastating impact of climate change on food production and food security all over the world. Obe stressed that the goal could be achieved if all stakeholders, including the government, the private sector, and development partners, work in collaboration to fight hunger, extreme poverty, and malnutrition. President Dr. Bukola Saraki has urged the federal government to immortalize the late ace comedian and actor Moses Olaiya Adejumo, popularly known as Baba Salah, by naming a befitting national monument after him as a mark of honor and encouragement to both present and future artists in the country. In a statement in Abuja by his special advisor on media and publicity, Yusuf Olaniyonu, Saraki described the late comedian as a prolific artist who contributed immensely to the development of the nation's movie industry, in particular, and arts and culture in general, during his lifetime. He commiserated with the immediate family of the deceased, the Nigerian movie industry, the government, and the people of Osun State, and all lovers of comedy across the country over the loss of such a huge talent. And we'll move over to the foreign scene, where at least 5 people have been killed in flash floodings on the Spanish island of Mallorca, according to the police, with a British couple reported amongst the fatalities, while at least 9 others were reported missing. Spain's national police confirmed on social media that 5 people had been killed in the heavy rains in the municipality of St. Lawrence and urged people to avoid driving in the Levante area on the east of the island. Local media reported that at least another 12 people were still missing following the downpours, but emergency services declined to confirm the figures. When asked to confirm reports that a British couple were among the fatalities, the UK Foreign Office responded with a statement saying they were not in contact with the Spanish authorities responding to floodings in Majorca and were urgently seeking updates from them. The town of St. Lawrence is about 60 kilometers east of Palma, the capital of the Mediterranean island. It was deluged by torrential rain on Tuesday evening. Dramatic video footage on social media shows raging torrents of rain gushing through the streets of the town, with reports that more than 20 centimeters of rain fell in just 4 hours. On sports today, the Tour de France trophy won by the Team Sky's Geraint Thomas earlier this year has been stolen during a cycle show in Birmingham, the British team said. The trophy, loaned to bike manufacturer Pinarello, has been on display at venues across the UK, along with the team's other Grand Tour titles, but was picked up when left unattended at the Neck in Birmingham recently. Pinarello Managing Director Richard Hemmington said he was devastated by the thief. He was devastated by the theft. Team Sky said police were investigating the matter and were liaising with all relevant parties to agree on the best course of action to resolve the issue. Thomas won the team's 6th Tour de France title in 7 years in July. It was the 4th successive Grand Tour win for the team after Chris Froome won the Tour and the Volta a Espana last year before clinching this year's Giro d'Italia. Remember, you can follow our news and programs on ABS from any part of the world simply by logging on to our website, which is www.absradiotv.com, or like us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television, or follow us on our Twitter and Instagram handle at ABS Radio TV. And before we end the news, we'll go through our recaps for today. The state government is targeting to train 10,000 youths annually under One Youth, One Skill initiative. Governor Obiano restated this while inaugurating the scheme in Oka. ABS chapter of Ratawu has inaugurated a caretaker committee. The federal government has denied agreements with organized labor on new minimum wage. Flash flooding has killed at least 5 people in Spain. And that's the end of the news this evening. Many thanks for being with us. My name is Ifunanya Amafili. Do have a pleasant evening.